In today's show, you're going to get a PowerApps Flow tutorial. We're going to combine PowerApps, Flow, and SharePoint and make a solution, right? We're going to take a picture from our mobile phone. We're going to push that up to SharePoint, and then we're going to get the link to that picture back and push it back to our Power App and open it up, right? And the idea here is we want to do this introductory topic, get you guys going as excited about Flow as I've become lately. So hopefully you can build cooler, new, more awesome solutions with PowerApps. But before we do any of that, first, here's our intro. Hi, my name is Shane Young with PowerApps 911. Those guys. In today's show, we're finally going to broach the topic of Flow, right? I've done 30 or 40 PowerApps videos, and I've been wanting to do this Flow introductory, how to get our PowerApps connected to Flow for a while, but I've been a little hesitant. So with the help of John Levesque, right, the Microsoft product guy, I was able to kind of figure all this out and work up a nice little app that I think you guys will enjoy. So what we're going to do is we're going to put on our Microsoft Flow hat. That's right. I look pretty cool in this hat that is way too small for my big head. That's enough of that. And we're going to walk through this whole process. I thought what we do here is we'll start out with the app that I've already built. So we'll do this demo. And then after we do that, then we will start from scratch as we always do and build you the awesome app. All right. So let's switch over here to the demo. Okay. So here we're going to load the app up. So we'll click on Flow Camera 2. All right. And we'll get rid of the swiping screen. So here you can see I'm going to use the take a picture functionality. And the little camera button over here on the left, I can click on that and change and toggle through the different cameras on my iPhone that are available. So we'll get back to Chewy. We'll take a picture of Chewy. And so then now you see the preview of the picture. We can enter a file name. So I'm going to do SOG instead of dog because I can't spell. I can choose the type of animal. I'm going to call Chewy a cat because I'm mean. We're going to say save to SharePoint. And so now the little dots are the flow running, right? Uploading that file to SharePoint and setting all the metadata, and returning back to us a link to open the file in SharePoint, which then launches our browser and opens the file directly in SharePoint. So this is the app that I've built for you. All right, so what a fun little demo. So now let's over here on my desktop, let's open up, let's create an app and see what we can build together. All right, so after a second, we'll choose phone layout. After a few more seconds, it's done, so we'll say skip. Okay, so then this is a screen we're going to build on. And so in order to do this, we're going to start at the top, right? So we need a rectangle. So grab this, go way down here at the bottom. I hate the rectangles so far down the bottom, but it is, so we deal with it. We'll make a little box. And now I don't like the ugly blue. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a new screen because this is how I would do it in a normal app, right? And we're gonna name this settings. And so then on the settings, I'm going to stick a label and we're gonna name the text PowerApps 911 purple, like so. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set the color of that text to be color value, right? That's the function that converts text or a color code, which I happen to have, into an actual color, right? So that makes the purple, yay. And then we're going to change this label to be a fill, right? And so the reason I do that is so it'll be closer to the top. But so then now, if we go over here to our rectangle, right, so back on our original screen, and we're going to change the fill for this guy to be not that hideous color, but now what we're going to have to do is type in a fill.color, and so then now we get purple, right? And so normally I would make my labels a little more fitting, right? This might be the background label, the foreground label, the text font colors, but it gives you the idea of reusing that. So everywhere in the app that we need to know the color, we're just going to use this over and over again. Cool? All right, so then let's insert a label here. And so for this, we're going to say, you know what, we need some 36 point. We need bold. I always like to make it bold. We need to make it white. And so then we're going to name this upload a pic to SharePoint. And it's a little bit bigger, but that's okay. We'll grab it like so and so. Oh, still a tad too big. No problem. 36 can become 32. Yeah. And then we will center it. All right. So now we have the most important part done, the header. So now what we want to do is we want to insert a camera control. So we're going to say insert media and camera. And so fortunately I have two cameras on this computer just for events like this. So we're recording with that camera, right? And then this is the camera that PowerApps is using. Isn't that weird? It's kind of weird. So you get to see me twice on the screen. It's probably confusing. I apologize. All right, but now that we have the camera, what we're going to do is we're going to make a button for taking our picture. Okay, then now we'll add a button. So hit a button, we'll drag it down underneath here. And for the button, then we're going to change his fill to be our same little guy again. All right, we need pretty, because I make ugly stuff usually. And so now to make a button that takes a picture, right? So we'll say take a pic. What you need to do is you need to go adjust the camera control. So we go right to the camera control, and there's an there's a stream rate right here. And so it's set to 0. Set that to 100. So now the camera is streaming full speed. Woohoo! And then so you're going to take pick. We're going to say, all right, when you click that button, where's the on select? Right there. We're going to say when you click that button, what we want to do is we want to update context, and we're going to create a variable called the taken pic, and we're going to set its value to be camera1.stream. Right, so this has been my preferred method. Maybe you have better ways of getting photos out of the camera control, but that's been my preferred method, so that's what we're going to do. Right, and so we'll say take a pic, kind of pull this up a little bit, and then to make sure that we know what we've got, we're going to grab an image control here. We'll make it much smaller, and so then we're going to set, you know what, image, you're going to be set to taken pic. All right, so we hit play, we say take a pic, boom, it saves the picture into that variable, and we're displaying it. Now, in reality, if I was, building this and I was trying to make it a little easier for the users instead of easy for you guys to understand how to rebuild, I'd probably replace the camera control with the image so that way they'd just be over top of each other and you would just see the picture you'd taken. There'd be a lot of different little things you might do, but that's what I would do in this, this picture front. So the other thing that I did that was kind of a neat little trick I learned. So let's grab an icon here and let's grab a camera. There it is. So we're going to put him right here. As you can guess, we're going to fix his color too. And feel free to leave comments and say don't ever fix all the colors again because you find it annoying. But so the camera, what we're going to do is when you click that, what do we want to do? On select. So most machines, right, my PC here, but if we think about like my Surface or my iPhone more specifically in the example before, they have multiple cameras, right? Now on the camera control itself, if you look, there is a camera property, and so by default it is 0, right? What is the default camera? But on the iPhone earlier, in the example I showed you, I toggled through the different cameras, and so I did that with this button. And so what I did here was I decided to do a switch. And so I said, all right, switch, and what do I want to do? I want to switch on cam. Sorry, I want to say switch on cam, and if his value is 0, then we want to update context. And then we will say, all right, do that and set cam to be 1, right? And so this is how I toggled through the cameras earlier. And so then if camera is 1, oh, will help if I type a 1, then we'll just copy this so I don't have to type all that over and over again. All right, but so switch is a lot of fun here. So if camera is 1, then we'll want to set camera to 2. And then finally, if camera is 2, if camera is 2, we got to type in the 2, comma, like so, then we're going to update it back to 0. So that's how I looped through those earlier when you press the button. Now, and what you might want to do is you might want to make this easier to read, right? Remember, so we can go right here. So let's make this box bigger, make it giant real quick. So say Shift Enter, and so you could do 0 is so, and then like that, 1 is that, and 2 is like that, and then there's your thing, right? And then if you want to get real cute, you tab these in. But so then that makes it a lot easier, right? So if cam is 0, update context to be that. If it's 1, make it that. If it's 2, make it that. So that's what the switch statement does, right? So that's how we triggered that button earlier. I know, you want to get to the flow. We're almost there. We just got to make sure we make our app cool in the process, right? Okay. So that gets all of our camera stuff working, right? If we hit play, oh, I did not change it, because then if you go here to camera now, so instead of camera being this, you're going to make cam be that, right? And so right now cam is not set, so that's why it's really confused. And so what you also want to do is go to your screen, and we're going to say, all right, screen, on visible, will you please just automatically make camera be 0, so that way we always start with the 0 camera. And onVisible doesn't work very well on this preview editor, right? Because there's not an onVisible event what's going to happen here. But that's how you would normally kind of set your app up. That's what I did in the working app that we saw demoed earlier. So if we say play, but now if we toggle, we should be able to get it to switch, but it's not going to because it doesn't know what Cam's value currently is. Ugh, how annoying. So then we'll grab this and we are going to create ourselves a little reset button, or reload button that we would use only for testing. And so if you click on that button, we're going to update our Cam. We're going to fix its color to be purple though, right? That's the whole theme of this whole thing is a fill.color is we're going to always make it look nice. I'm tired of people complaining about ugly stuff I built. So if we do that, that'll reset the camera, and then now our toggle will work. Boom, boom. So that's how I toggled through those. Okay, so now we can take a picture. Yay, we're good. All right, time to talk about flow. So let's insert a button. Nope, let's not insert a button. Let's take this button and copy it so I don't have to do the purple stuff anymore. I'll grab that, bring it down here. Whoop. And then we're going to make this button say what? We're going to say save to SharePoint. All right, we'll make it a little bit bigger. And we'll grab it again and recenter it. Oh, recenter, come on. There it is. All right, so save to SharePoint. We're going to drag it down a little bit because we need to, we're going to get a couple things, right? We need to get a file name from people. So let's do a label. And we'll grab it, pull it down here, and we'll say file name, like so. And we'll make this smaller, boom. And then we'll insert a text input. Oh, big ugly text input. Kind of pull it up here. Make it a little smaller, that's big. All right, so then text input, we will get rid of default text, right? Because I hate default text. You could definitely put in hint text or any of that if you wanted, right? But we will not do any of that. And then we'll take this label, we'll copy it, we'll paste it down here. And so then this will be a type of animal. And I'll explain what that is in just a moment. All right. And then we will do one more thing. We'll insert another control, a drop down. And so this is where we're going to choose our type of animal. Right, in the previous video, we were able to choose dog, cat, or fish. And so we'll just make that on the fly. So let's say like this, comma, like this, cat, and then finally fish. Boom. All right, and so that what the brackets do is they make a table, and then the values in the table are dog, cat, and fish, and that's what feeds the drop down. So that's how you can always kind of make one of those on the fly. We'll make that smaller so they look nicer. Okay, I think those are the things that we needed. So let's finally, after 10 minutes of content here, let's make your flow. And so now if you've ever looked before, you can create a flow from right here, actions and flow. But I've been told not to do that because one of the downsides is it names all the flows the same. You can't rename them. You lose some of the controls. So what's better is to jump over here to flow. So we're going to go to flow. You might have to sign in. So sign in up here on the right if you haven't. And I'm going to click on my flows. And so you can see the flows where I've been working on this for the last couple of days. But we're going to say create a new one. And we're going to say create from template. And then we're going to search the templates, and we're going to search for PowerApps. And we're actually going to add SharePoint in the mix too, because I don't want to have to scroll through. And so there's one for upload a file to SharePoint from PowerApps. Now, it should probably say upload an image, because we can't really upload files. One of the things that you're going to probably ask me, right, I look forward to it in the comments. I'm going to tell you it's already in the video, but there's no way right now, and there's no easy, straightforward way to take a file off of your mobile device or even your computer and have PowerApps use Flow to put that into SharePoint, right? The only things that PowerApps can send via Flow to SharePoint right now is an image out of the camera control. So while you're probably thinking, well, I could go over here and insert a different type of control, right? You could insert like the add a picture control and then upload a document that way. Well, it turns out the add a picture control stores images or Word docs or anything else in a weird format, and it only does it locally. And there's no way to pass that local file up to Flow right now. So hopefully something they'll fix one of these days. But as of right now, what I'm about to show you is the only way I've been able to figure out to get anything out of PowerApps as far as like a file into Flow. Same thing, I tried to use the pin input, right, wherever he is. He's over here on the text controls. And I couldn't even get the pin input to go either. I can only get things out of the camera control. So that's the first caveat to kind of know. Okay, so let's switch back over here. So upload a image to SharePoint from PowerApps. I'll fix that for Microsoft. And so if we click on this, it's a manual action to SharePoint, good, and it's going to say it's going to connect to SharePoint. So this is important because you have to then make sure that, well, obviously you have permissions, but the users of your PowerApps, they are going to connect to SharePoint. So when I shared this app with my dog Chewy, and he logged in, he had to have access to the SharePoint document library where I was writing this to. And the first time he opened up the Power App, he had to say, yes, I want SharePoint to be accessed on my behalf. So keep that in mind. You know, the flow is going to warn you about things you have to be able to connect to, and the users. This is not going to be in my context. It's going to be the users when I publish my flow, or publish my flow and then Power App, my users will need to access. Okay, so let's click continue. Okay, so after a few seconds, so with Power Apps, there's no additional information needed. Yay. And so then let's jump into SharePoint. All right, what SharePoint site do I want to use? I'm going to hit the drop down. Sometimes it shows me the site I want, sometimes it doesn't. Today it is not. So we're going to say enter a custom value. And then we're going to do HTTPS shanescows.sharepoint.com/sites/PA for PowerApps. Who would have known? Boom. All right. And then folder path. And so if you see things here, you know you got the URL above correct because these are the different document stores on my site. So we're going to do shared documents. And so that's all you have to set, right? There's some other, or no, not all you have to set, but there are some other settings like over here under settings. Pretty much none of this, not a thing, nothing we're going to do here. This track property shouldn't even be here. So don't overthink it. Ignore all these settings. But what you are going to need to do is do edit. And so file name, you can see the cute little one PowerApps icon here. So we're going to get the file name from PowerApps. So we're going to have to pass that over. Okay. And then the file contents, we're also going to have to get that from PowerApps. Now, what's really obnoxious, for lack of a better way of putting it, is that this will not work because PowerApps encodes the file one way, SharePoint and the rest of the universe needs it another way. Now, the good news is, though, is that the PowerApps team gave us a function to convert across that. So let's delete this guy. And let's go over here and we're going to say we need an expression. And then I'm going to paste in my expression so you don't have to watch me type it. And actually, let's open up Notepad real quick. And so we'll paste it right here so you can see it. All right, so what this is going to do is this is going to use the dataUriToBinary function, right? And I'll put this in the comments or in the description below so you can just cut and paste. So we're going to use the dataUriToBinary function, and that's going to convert the URL that PowerApps passes in this CreatefileFileContent variable that comes from PowerApps. It's going to convert that into the binary format that SharePoint and the rest of the universe needs. So pretty straightforward. You can just cut and paste this, and as long as you don't change any of the variable names, which you shouldn't, or because you'd have to go and manually do a bunch of stuff, this is what you should get. So use this, but we're going to put that in this expression form. We say okay. It goes over here as a function. We are good. We are cooking with gas. So that is our first hurrah at this, if you will, right? So what we want to do now is we're going to say, all right, that would get us the file, but now we want to also update the metadata, right? In my SharePoint list, let's open that up real quick. There's a documents. And so I have a column called type of animal. So we want to update this type of animal column at the same time. So in our flow, right, we had to create the file. And now that we've created a file, now we need to add another step, right? We're going to take this a little further than the simple out of the box example. So we're going to say next step, add an action. I'm going to click on SharePoint to only see the SharePoint actions. And if you scroll all the way down here at the bottom, there is a update file properties. So then now it says, all right, what is your site address? And once again, it does not remember my site address. So we're going to type that in again. HTTPS shanescows.sharepoint. All right, just like so. What is our SharePoint library name? It is documents, boom. And then unique identifier. So this was tricky to me. I didn't get this on the first try. But what you can actually do is there should be a add dynamic content. And so by clicking in here, enough, I don't know, I kind of had to click it a couple times. It finally showed up. And so then there's the item ID of the file it just created. Perfect. And then we could set the title of the file, but what I was more concerned with is setting the type of animal. Now here we want some dynamic content again. And so if we scroll down, what we're going to do is we're going to take advantage of, we want to ask in PowerApps. So if we say ask in PowerApps, then what happens is it created us a new thing called update file properties _ type of animal. Woohoo! Now, what we're going to have to do is we're going to pass that over, and then that'll be what's updated here. Fun? Fun. All right. So what do we got so far? PowerApps triggers it. We create a file. We update the file properties. The last thing we want to do is we want to send some information back to PowerApps. So we're going to say one more new step, and we're going to add an action. And so then now we're going to say search all these and search for PowerApps. And we're going to say respond to PowerApps. We're going to add an output. We're going to add a text output. And we're going to say, we're going to call it file link. And the value. So this is another one of those places where we're going to have to do a little more work than we probably wanted, but that's okay. We're smart, we're learning. And so we're going to build an expression that has the link because there isn't a link that is just available to the file, unfortunately. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the function called concat. And concat, right, just like we use over in PowerApps, we use concatenate. Concat is their version of it, but the syntax is a little different. So in the first section, we're going to type in, we want HTTP. I should have saved this at some point, huh? I typed this in a lot. Shane's cows.sharepoint.com/sites/PA. Okay, so that's the first string. And then we're going to do a comma. And we're going to be really annoyed that this thing is in the way. But in the comma, then we're going to insert dynamic content. So we're clicked on dynamic content here. And then there is going to be a path. And so this is the path to the file that is relative to the actual site collection or that it was in. So we say path. And then let's just grab all this. We're going to say Control A, copy, and let's put this all in Notepad again so we can all see it together. So you can see that here's what it does. So concat this string, and so notice the string has got single quotes, right? In PowerApps, we always do double quotes, so single quotes, comma, and then this variable, the path, right? And so it's pulling that, and we just did that through the dynamic content. So I'll make both of these available down below so you can grab those. Okay. So we'll do all that. We'll say OK. So then now we have a concat function. Whew, that was a lot of work, right? That made the brain work because that was a bunch of new stuff. But what have we done now? So from PowerApps, we're going to create a file. We're going to update the file properties, and then we're going to pass a link back to our friend PowerApps. Pretty cool. Okay. So we're going to say before we hit save a flow, let's go up here and let's change this and let's call this video flow, right? So it wasn't very intuitive to me. This is where you save or change the file name. So it's way up here in the corner. But so now we'll name it video flow. We'll say save flow. And we'll say saved. Boom. All right, so we'll go back over here. And so then now we have our flow. We don't have any run history. All right, we're doing good. So let's click on our app. So let's go here and say, all right, save to SharePoint. I want an action and I want a flow. And so then there is our flow we just created, right? Video flow, there's the other ones I did earlier. So we're gonna click on video flow. It's going to add it, right? And remember I clicked on the button because we wanna make sure you're adding it to the button. The first time I did this, I accidentally added it to the screen and was really confused. All right, so we added it there. And so initially what you're thinking, all right, so what do you wanna call the file name? Well, so for the file name, we're gonna take whatever you typed in this, this box here, right? So we're gonna say text input 1 .text. We're going to close this because this is too much stuff on the screen. Okay. We're going to do a comma here. What is the contents? Well, that is the take and pick that we did earlier. Okay. And then finally, what value do we want to send to that column type of animal? And so that's going to be from our dropdown. So we're just going to type in dropdown1 .selected .value, just like so. Now, looking at this, I don't want people to also have to type in .jpeg, so I'm going to actually go up here, right? So this is the section. Everything in front of this comma is the section for the file name. So we're just going to use our concatenate function, right? The ampersand. We're going to say boom.jpg. Okay. So then that way, you know, if I type in Word, it'll be word.jpg. It'll be the name of the picture when it gets uploaded to SharePoint. Okay. And then this will be the picture that's uploaded. And then this section here will be set that type of animal column to dog, cat, or fish based on what choice you put in the drop down. Okay. So that's how you push to Flow. Right. So let's do that real quick before we pull back from Flow. So our Flow won't do everything we want. Yep, that's okay. So we're going to say boom. So we got a picture stored, right? That's why it's handy to have this image here. And so we'll call this V1. And we will set the type of animal to be fish. We'll say save to SharePoint. We will cross our fingers. I got this right. Okay, the little ant stopped, the little dot stopped marching across the screen. So let's go over here. Let's do a refresh. Scroll to the bottom. V1, fish, a few seconds ago. Yes, we have written to SharePoint. Good job. Yay. High five. Okay. So then now what you have to ask yourself is, so that worked. We wrote to it, but we didn't get anything back from PowerApps yet. Glad you pointed that out. I almost forgot. So if we go over here, so we need to get back from PowerApps. So what we're going to do is we're going to take advantage of set, right? Or we could do update context, but I'm going to use set. So, right, and so set is for creating a PowerApps variable. We're going to create a variable called file link. We do file link from Flow. We got a long name. Yeah, that's a good variable name, right? You can't confuse that. And so we're going to set file link from Flow. Here's our flow. When you get to the end of your flow, though, what you're going to do is you're going to say dot. Oh, look at that, dot file link. Because that's what we set over here. Remember when we edited our flow? We said update file properties. We said, oh, no, that. When we go to respond, we said file link is concat, right? And notice that even though I typed it in uppercase here, Flow and PowerApps talk in all lowercase. Don't overthink it. But so that's going to pass that back. So if I've gotten that right, so dot file link, we'll just close our parentheses. What it's going to do is when we click the button now, it's going to run the flow and it's going to return. So it's going to run the flow, actually process and push our file up there. And then it's going to return the file link property and it's going to place that in the file link from Flow. Fancy? Fancy. All right. So that should all work. That looks good. And then what we'll do here is we'll insert another label on the screen real quick. And so we'll make this label be file link from Flow. So in theory, when we hit save to SharePoint after a moment, we should get that. So let's go over here. Let's say play. Let's take a new picture. So we'll say peace. All right, we got a new picture. We'll call this file name v2. We will set this to cat. And we will say save to SharePoint. You'll also notice I was too lazy to make this purple like I should have. Very sad. But look at that. Now it's returning the link to our actual file. Woohoo! So let's do something with that. So instead of a label, because that's boring, we'll say copy this button. Copy, paste, drag it down here. And we will say open file. All right. And so then when you select this guy, we do not want to rerun our flow. What we want to do is we want to take advantage of the launch function. And we're going to launch file link from Flow. Easy enough. So we'll say play. We'll take a picture number 3. There it is. V3. We'll say save to SharePoint. We'll watch the little ants march. Doot, 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 doot. And then now we'll click open file. V3, woohoo! That's kind of cool, huh? I thought it was. I don't know. There's several things in this app that made me get really excited that I had done. So I don't know. Maybe you're not that excited. I am. Okay. So that gets all that. I will not make you watch me go through setting all the properties to make this guy not blue anymore. I'll save you that one. But so the other thing that I want to talk about real quick is for your testing purposes, one of the things that I do just to make sure this all works is and this is not something I would leave in the app. This is something I do while I'm learning. So we know that that updates that. But so what else we're going to do? We're also going to say, you know what, set, and then what values do we have? We have take and pick. So set take and pick to be blank, like so. And then set file link from flow to also be blank. Okay, so I do all of that. So then that way, when I'm building the app, I can reset it, make sure everything's always back to 0. Because the other thing, the last thing I want to show you in SharePoint before we go over to Flow and talk about some more stuff, is we're going to grab all this stuff. So let's grab this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, and let's group them together. So we'll say home, group, boom. Probably should name our group, but we're not going to because we're lazy. Well, not you, but me. And so we're going to say, you know what, visible is if, so take and pick, if take and pick, is blank. So is blank, take and pick. So that means they haven't taken a picture yet. Then we don't want to show them the buttons for uploading to SharePoint, right? So then we'll say this is false. But if it's not blank, then they have done this. We'll make it true. So then that's how we'll get rid of that. And then we'll do the same thing for this guy. We'll say, you know what, your visible is if is blank file link from flow, then make you false, and then we'll make you true. Like that. So then now if we do the reset, right? Oh, it did not reset the whole thing. So let's go back over here and figure out what I did wrong. Click on this guy. Update, set, taken picture is blank. Did I make him a context? I did. Well, that's why I'm trying to update the global variable when I made him a context variable. Update context like this and this. I am world famous for making these silly mistakes in my apps. So let's try that. So you were a set, I'm pretty sure. So we'll say play, we'll say reset. Okay. All right, so then this tells us everything's gone. So all the variables are empty. But so then now if we take a picture for number 4, we get this section, right? We'll change this name to be 4. And we'll change this to be dog. We'll say save to SharePoint. The ants will march across the screen. And then after a second, we get the open file. And there is 4. Huh. Oh my goodness. I love it when a plan comes together. Now, a couple of things I got asked about on that. You could make the file name automatic, right? So I showed this to one of my coworkers and they're like, hey, why is the file name automatic? Because I wanted to show you guys kind of the way that I built it the first time. I don't know, but you could definitely do that. So don't overthink it. You know, you could have gotten these properties from SharePoint itself or from another list, right? We've got several videos on dropdowns. So, all right. So that's all the SharePoint or the PowerAppy stuff. You know, and then you'd obviously want to make sure that you hit file and save. Video flow. Now let's talk about a couple of nuances, things that you guys need to know going into this. All right, so let's go back over here. And the most annoying one, is that annoying? Is that a nice thing to say? I don't know. But the most annoying one is you're over here. Say that for whatever reason you're like, man, I really want to change this to file link 2. Okay, you want to rename that to file link 2. You save your flow. You're like, awesome possum, I got this. So you go back over here, Power App. You're like, all right. Save this, boom, boom, boom. Change this to be file link 2. PowerApps is going to be really upset. It does not know what is happening. So you're like, all right, well, no problem, right? We'll go over and we'll reset that. So we'll go to Actions and Flows and say, there is no refresh the flow. And as best I know, and this was talking to my buddy John earlier, right? There is no way to make PowerApps and Flow like figure out that that part of the flow has changed. So what you have to do now is actually remove this flow from PowerApps, right? So you would actually click Remove from App, kind of get out, wait 30 seconds, and then come back over and then add the flow again, put this whole big old line back in, and then your file link 2 would work, okay? It is not perfect. Don't shoot the messenger, but it's all you can do, right? So let's try it. So what I would do is I would grab this, because I know this is what I really want. So then we'll say, all right, remove from app. We'll close out of this. We'll wait a second. I'll hit pause in the video while I wait. Right, while we waited, I tried to get a drink, but my drink is empty, very sad. So then now we'll go back to our button and we'll say, all right, flows for you. We'll add the video flow back. So then now it's like, all right, well, now you got to put all this stuff back in. And so now that the stuff is back in, it's like, oh, I totally get it. I know what you meant. And so file link 2 works, right? Kind of one of those things that makes you angry. Now, and when I was talking to John, he's like, oh, just hit refresh in the browser. That'll speed all this up. Remember, if you hit refresh in the browser, PowerApps, you lose everything you didn't save before, right? So be careful of that refresh button in PowerApps. I never hit this refresh button. It causes bad things. Okay, so that was one thing I want you guys to know. Another thing that I need you guys to know is, so if we're back over here in Flow, this run history was really helpful for me when I was trying to figure out what was going on. Because if the flow actions fail, PowerApps gives you pretty much useless information back. So but you can come over here, click on run history. And so then I could click in and I could see what happened. And I could see the actual error messages. It made a lot more sense that let me figure out why things weren't working. Okay. Another common troubleshooting tip that I want you guys to know. So if you're in your flow, if you're finding that the files in SharePoint don't work, right? They're blank files, SharePoint's mad at you, they're weird. Most likely the mistake you made, because I did it several times even after I knew it was a mistake, was not putting this function in here. This function to convert the URL or the file format, very important to your success. So once again, it's down in the comments. You can steal it from me, which is not really stealing. I stole it from somebody else. But, you know, that is probably the most common issue that I had when I was working through these. Right? Then the last thing I want to point out is up here, learn. And so if we say learn and then like documentation, oh, we do not want to do that. How about, can we do it, open link in a new tab? We can do it that way. So Flow does their documentation a little different than PowerApps, for better or worse. And so you can see they kind of drive it based on where you're at in the life cycle. So definitely take advantage of it. Flow also has great forums, just like the PowerApps forums. So feel free to look there. And I think that kind of wraps up what we wanted to do, right? Hopefully this helped you guys kind of get over the hump, be less afraid of Flow. I know that I was afraid of it for a long time, and it was a lot of work. I spent 2 days to make this simple video. So I can appreciate if you're kind of like a little scared, but go try it out. Go play with it. Now that I've given you the steps, hopefully it works. I'm also going to challenge John Levesque and say, hey, John, I crossed the path, right? I went Flow. So now I need John to go PowerApps. What you got? What you got, dude? Come back over here. Make a cool PowerApps and Flow story from your point of view, too, because it's always fun, right? We'll see if he can keep up with my game. Cool. All right. Well, I think that's it for the day. It is like 80 degrees outside. So once again, I'm going golfing for whatever reason. Completely unplanned. I actually had a golf club sitting here in my office. So that's how close I am to going golfing for the day. But if you need anything, you know where to reach me. All right. Thanks and have a great day. Hey, it's me again. If you got a second, click the subscribe button. That always keeps me making more videos. Or if you want to work together, need some help getting your PowerApps going, hit me up at PowerApps 911. Always happy to work together. Or finally, if you're really just looking for more videos, that's probably what it is. Check out the PowerApps playlist over here and, enjoy that. All right, thanks and have a great day.